Layer 1s are dead. I cannot emphasize this enough. If there's one thing I need you to take away from me, it's the idea of buying layer 1s and riding them for insane gains being over. You've all heard that cycles change and how narratives of the last bear market become old, and how there's always new narratives. And I know for a fact that a lot of you become confused and get pretty nervous when you hear this, because it can be pretty daunting. And so you just kind of ignore it and hope for the best. And trust me, I've been there too. It's scary. But that's what I'll be educating you on this video. On why L1s are dead, and what you should be focusing on instead. Okay, look, when I say L1s are dead, I'm saying the entire theory that propelled their price action last bull run has really gone away. It's no longer being echoed like it once was, and it's not hard at all to understand. It's the fact that back then ETH was slow, clunky, high gas fees, and that if we wanted this blockchain-denominated world, we need not only just faster, cheaper blockchains, but just more block space in general. And so with that came the absolute explosion of many of the best performing assets last bull run, like Solana, BNB, Cardano, Algorand, Polkadot, Avalanche, and so on. And even though this narrative is still technically very much true, as it's an undeniable fact that we'll need block space if mass adoption does occur, the reality is we're nowhere near that yet. In other words, we got too ahead of ourselves, and which is why our main focus for projects to invest in for the next bull run should be projects that offer utility. In other words, the dApps that onboard users. And I'll expand on what I mean in just a minute, but going back to the L1s for just a second, if you can't feasibly state a certain characteristic or component it offers to differentiate itself, then I'm afraid it's just going to get left behind. So let's quickly go through all of these L1s so you can see what I mean. Okay, first BNB. I love Binance and CZ, but I've never owned BNB in my life. I have a strict restriction against investing in anything centralized, which also saved me from ever getting rug pulled by BlockFi, Celsius, and so on. And so if I wasn't buying BNB back then, you best believe I won't be now. And before I say no to a bunch of these other projects, let me give an example of something I'd say yes to, which is Say Network, an L1 that's not out yet. And the sole reason I say yes to Say, is because it's a niche sector specific L1. You see, it's no longer viable for an L1 to just come out and say here we are. It's just nobody cares. It doesn't matter how many TPS or low transaction fees are, that narrative is already super played out. And therefore you have to change your approach to present something that makes you unique, going back to that utility point. So Say Network is only targeting trading. Their whole motto is to be the layer 1 for exchanges to build on to give them an unfair advantage. And even though this may not appeal to the broader crypto world, I can tell you for a fact that Say Network will dominate this niche. So if we go back to our old layer 1s, if they're not moving to do something similar, they'll get left behind. So Near Protocol, for example, good project, good tech, but no clue what they're doing. And once ETH introduces sharding, then what? Why pick Near over ETH? Same with Cosmos, amazing tech, some of the best in the space, but this doesn't translate well in the value accrual. So what's the point? Polkadot, I mean, what is even going on with them? I don't know. Same thing with Cardano and Algorand. Can you truly tell me they're presenting anything aside from we're here, come build on us? Especially with ETH L2s and how that on its own can dominate the next bull run greater than L1s. Avalanche I won't be as harsh on because they have shifted their approach. Over these past months I can see they've thought something similar and are aiming to onboard a lot more gaming and enterprise projects with their subnets, going for that category. Phantom DeFi I still think is very interesting. Polygon, which for now we'll categorize with the L1s, has the NFT game on lock, and are also going heavy for the gaming category, linking up with IMX, which is another perfect example of a niche-specific L1. Stacks is another great example where their category is Bitcoin layer. Also Rose, for instance, saying we're privacy L1. It's just not enough to say I'm a fast L1, here's some block space. You need to have an appeal along with that. And for Solana, the one you've all been waiting for, Sol is a bit different in this case. Just like how ETH was a drastic improvement to build on over Bitcoin, Sol was that over ETH. Now I'm not saying ETH is better than BTC or Sol over ETH. I'm saying that fast cheap L1 narrative, in my opinion at least, has been conquered by Sol. And because Sol does that so relatively well, it's hard to improve on that. So take Aptos and Sui for example, two L1s that came out of nowhere with the mindset of here we are. Here's some more block space, now buy our token. But no, because first you're late to the party, and second you're not a massive improvement on this cheap fast aspect over Sol. So why do I care? Because aside from that there's nothing you do. So for the L1, unless there is fundamental utility behind it, there's just no point. Mark my words, the next crypto bull run will be dominated by use case. The block space narrative is over for now. This is why I say the L1 narrative is dead. Obviously not because L1s are dead, not at all. It's the most important thing of our cryptoverse. But it just won't do similar gains to what it did last bull run. In my opinion, those will be done by the dApps with actual utility. And I will be going over a lot of these crypto projects that offer utility, so make sure to like and subscribe for that, and for other high-tier crypto videos. And to buy or trade crypto, sign up to one of the exchange links below.